So recently, I was practicing, then a bunch of Europeans asked me with British handguns to try their sheet music app. So, naturally, I responded in the most American way possible. This interaction is greatly exaggerated. They were actually a bunch of very kind Swiss people who didn't know I was going to turn this whole thing into a bit. TomPlay is a music practicing app that auto-scrolls, has a metronome, and has over 100,000 pieces to choose from. I'm not joking when I say I've been using TomPlay every day for the last 3 months for when I practice, and now it's finally time for me to tell you guys about it. One of my biggest problems when practicing is the amount of music you need. I'm using literally 5 different exercise books every time I practice, and this covers bow technique, left hand works. And all these are very important because when you're writing music, you have to reach deep into your basics bag in order for you to write something great. But I don't have infinite money, and I can't keep buying exercise books every 2 weeks when I see a new suggestion on Reddit. It not only has thousands of songs for you to choose from, that's from classical to jazz to like musical theater, everything in between, it has it. But it also has those really valuable exercise books that are perfect for drilling in the basics. You can start practicing with accompaniment right from the beginning so you know what it's going to sound like in performance, and you even get a tempo slider, so if you want to slide it back to the beginning and go at 60 BPM like our teachers want us to do, you're welcome to do that. Now, I'm not just trying to sell you TomPlay, I'm going to give you my actual review on it. I'm going to rate TomPlay in 3 different categories. I'm going to rate it for the beginners, I'm going to rate it for the intermediate to like college level players, and then I'm going to rate it for the professionals on a letter grade. If you should use it, is it great? Is it the best? Is it kind of the worst? What are the things wrong with it? All things like that that are really important. Look, I can glaze it all day and tell you how useful it has been for me to practice, but it's probably just better if I show you. For new players and beginners, I give TomPlay like an A. There are like fingering charts there that you can learn, but nothing's really going to replace a teacher. If you have a teacher that incorporates TomPlay into your lessons, that's probably going to be the best. You can probably fake your way through it in the very beginning. You can listen and probably pick it up by ear if you're musically inclined enough to do so, but really the biggest problem that I think holds it back from an S, in my opinion, is you kind of need some direction in the first place to begin with, and the massive library is very overwhelming. Now sure, there are some different pieces that have different difficulty levels. For example, if you want to get a more popular piece and set it to the beginner level so then you can work your way up to the intermediate, I think that's really useful for beginners. But, and a big but, is that not all pieces have this ability. Some of the more popular pieces are going to be more advanced or more intermediate, and that might frustrate beginners because what they want to do is just get on TomPlay and play some Lindsey Sterling, dude, obviously. So if you're a beginner or a new player and you want to try something new to your practice regimen, see if it helps you, I'd recommend TomPlay. It's certainly helped me, and I think that it could be beneficial to beginners if you needed some extra help. Next, we have intermediate students to college level students. I would give TomPlay an S. These are the people who are going to want to use it. Look, TomPlay isn't anything new. We've seen Ray Chen plug Tonic 1,000 times. So this isn't a diss to Tonic or anything like that. I think the platform is great, but for me personally, I just use TomPlay more. And that's why I like it. It's simple, it works for me personally. And I know myself, I'm a serial rusher. I like to rush through the pieces that I'm playing. I like to play fast, I'm sorry. TomPlay does come with a premium subscription plan, and I know what you're saying, oh, another subscription plan. And it comes out to like $89 a year, I believe, off the top of my head. That comes out to be about $7 a month. And for perspective, YouTube Premium is $15 a month. So, I mean, I think if you want to spend your money on a subscription that's going to actually help yourself improve your playing and not be in front of a TV, maybe you might want to spend it on TomPlay. Look, if you're intermediate to college, you're probably going to get the most out of the subscription, and that's why I bring the price into it. I don't think it's super expensive. I think it's relatively reasonable, especially for the amount of music that you do get. Like I said earlier, you have all the exercise books you could possibly want, along with some of the more advanced pieces. If you wanted to try to dip your toes into it without getting in too much trouble and try practicing, maybe you might want to check out TomPlay. The UI is simple. The annotation's pretty simple too. There's just really nothing wrong with it. I'm telling you, I've been using it all the time. I wouldn't be recommending it for these level players if I wasn't using myself. But now finally, we have to get to the more advanced players, the professionals. I would give TomPlay a B-. Look, the library is great, but most of the time if you're a professional, you're going to be wanting to use sheet music to begin with because, as our teachers say, practice the way you play. And if you are using an iPad when you're going up on stage or you're going to be with an orchestra, you're already going to be using Fourscore. And here comes my main problem with TomPlay that I think holds it back the most for the professionals. Comparing TomPlay to Fourscore is kind of like comparing apples to oranges, but I'm going to try my best. TomPlay's UI for annotating music is relatively more finicky than something like Fourscore. That's very simple. You pick up a pencil, you write it down. The page turning is simple by a manual foot pedal. I mean, Fourscore is probably going to beat TomPlay every single time when it comes to professional performance. So if you're a professional, you're already going to be using Fourscore, and then if you do start using TomPlay, you're going to make annotations in TomPlay. You're going to also need pieces from TomPlay. And the main issue is that you only get 3 downloads a month. Now, this is kind of a problem for the professional players because they want to export their music with the annotations from TomPlay to Fourscore so they can play it in front of everybody. And I've talked to the people about it. I'm like, hey, I think it's kind of dumb that you only get 3 exports per month. I think that's kind of dumb if you're going to be paying a premium subscription for it. But that's because TomPlay sells sheet music individually, so they can't make their entire catalog of sheet music unlimited for $7 a month. So when I voiced this concern to the team that I was talking to, they were like, yeah, we get that a lot from professional players, but we just can't do it because it's bad business. And look, all the things from the intermediate to college people still apply. The massive library, the good accompaniment with it, all the things that professional players would probably like is still there. The issue is just the practicality of using it in an actual performance. So if you're a professional out there, you probably don't need this app to begin with because you already have your practice routine set out. Now, those people might want to go to Tonic and practice in front of people, especially if they're going to do a performance or for an orchestral part or something like that. That is really important for those players to have. And TomPlay doesn't have any online functions like that, and Tonic does. So maybe that would be something that the Tonic players would be more interested in, but in terms of catalog still, if you're a professional player and you want to brush up on some skills, get some more exercise books, things like that, I would still recommend TomPlay. The app just overall is pretty good, and I wouldn't be talking to you guys about it unless I actually used it myself. And I've talked to the people there at TomPlay, and they're very serious about improving this as much as they possibly can. So they asked me to come on here and make a review about it, so here it is. I think, personally for me, I love TomPlay. I give it an A+. But for everyone else, it's kind of your decision. If you think it's going to be worth the subscription price and you want to get a hold of all that sheet music instantaneously at your fingertips, I would say it's probably worth it. But if you're kind of more of a paper practicer and you want to have physical sheet music, then TomPlay isn't for you, and that's totally okay. If you want to check it out, there's going to be a link in the description below, and make sure you comment if you like this video. I've never done a review like this, and maybe you will have some different insights on what I do. Maybe I'll do scales next time. Maybe I'll do etudes. Maybe I'll do some basic stuff, teach you guys how I actually do violin, teach you guys on some insights that I've learned when it comes to practicing. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I'm going to get back to practicing, and I'll see you guys next time.